Morning all. A few days removed, welcome to the channel, a few days removed from the Everton game. This is a topic, a video that I've had to think a bit long and hard about. I'm going to come away from, on my morning after show videos, doing like a breakdown of what happened, because everyone's watched the game. If you're watching this video, you've watched the game, you know what happened. So instead of just having a rundown of so-and-so shot and it was a goal, and then we conceded from this situation, and then on the 80th minute that happened, I'm just going to give my opinions on key moments and certain performances, selections, decisions and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so today I want to address and give my thoughts on the whole situation and a bit of a season recap, really, because this season has not gone well. It's been a season of struggle, of inconsistency. You could argue of consistency of performance, because you can count on one hand how many games we've actually performed well. And I'm not saying flawless performances. I'm not saying a Barcelona in the Champions League final in 2011. In my opinion, that was a pretty flawless performance. I'm not saying Newcastle against PSG at home 2 years ago, or 3, whenever that was, the 4-1, because that was pretty much flawless performance. I'm on about just performed well. I think we're looking at, and let's narrow that down even further. There's been very few games that we've performed well against good opposition, against an opponent that wasn't rubbish on the day or hamstrung by a red card, mass injuries, etc. So I'm going to discount Karabag. I'm going to discount Union. You could even discount Aston Villa, even though I do think that was a good performance. Where's it all gone wrong? I think I've got issues with the media reporting at the minute. Obviously, we've all seen what's his name, Adrian Durham on TalkSport, saying that Nick Voltemada is the worst Premier League. Oh, what did he say? The worst Newcastle United signing ever, or the worst Premier League signing ever? Either one of those statements is grossly exaggerated, grossly incorrect. So let's get on with it. Nick Voltemada has become somewhat of a scapegoat in recent weeks, and is it fair? No, I don't think it is. I've been critical of Nick Voltemada myself. I don't think any player is ever immune from criticism 100%. I did a video, was it last week or the week before, sort of a deep dive into which position is he best at, how can we get the best out of him, how can the team benefit from him, how can he help the team, etc. And I don't know the answer right now. In the current makeup of Newcastle United, the current way we play, or the way we'd like to play, the system, the formation, the tactics, I personally don't know what the answer is for Nick Voltemada. I like to think I know football quite well, but I scratch my head that to me there's no obvious right, play there, play that way, without changing the whole system of the team. So why is Voltemada under so much scrutiny? In some ways, he's similar to Eddie Howe, that he's made a rod for his own back by being so good. Club record signing, Bayern Munich were chasing him. He chose to come to Newcastle. He started the season quite well. These are all factors in my view. So club record signing, started the season really well, feeding off absolute scraps, by the way, which no one's really talking about. Started the season really well, and it's fallen off a cliff. And he's so different, isn't he? Also, he was not on Newcastle's shortlist, long list, long-term plans for the summer. He was a panic buy. Let's be real. He is clearly talented, clearly has the ability, clearly has technique, vision, first touch, dribbling. He's clearly a very good finisher. So I'd love to see his conversion rate for how many chances he's actually been presented with and how many he's put away. In recent months, we have seen him spurring a few chances, or not spurring a few chances, just not getting in the positions. I feel for Nick. I really, really do. He's not the player we should have bought. And he was a man who came into a new country, new language, new team, was thrown into the starting 11 immediately to play up top. Eddie Howe always likes to give his players, new signings, time to bed in. Look at Bruno Guimaraes. Look at Alexander Isak. Prime examples. I think Sandro Tonali obviously came in and played straight away, but then he had that long stretch out. Sven Botman came in and played straight away, pretty much, with Fabian Schär. Struck out that wonderful defensive partnership. But the key ones we're looking at as examples are Bruno Guimaraes, Harvey Barnes, Alexander Isak. Obviously, Alexander Isak had to dovetail with Callum Wilson, prime Callum Wilson. That didn't happen for Nick Voltemade. The plan would have been, even though the two strikers we signed were not top of our shortlist, when they were through the door, the plan would have been, right, Johan Wissa, Premier League proven, Premier League experienced, 19 goals from open play last season. Now, I might get onto Johan Wissa later on in the video, but he is absolutely getting away with it here and hiding behind, perhaps not on purpose, definitely not on purpose, but he's hiding behind Nick Voltemade. His lack of performance is being ignored because of Nick Voltemade's lack of performance. But the plan would have been, Johan Wissa would have started that first game, number 9. And it would have been put on him, because he is not an Alexander Isak in terms of quality, level or style, but he's a hell of a lot closer to Alexander Isak in terms of style of play than Nick Voltemade. So the plan would have been for Johan Wissa to be our starting centre forward, and then Nick Voltemade to be bedded in. Obviously that didn't happen because of the car crash of the transfer window, because of Johan Wissa's injury, which is unfortunate, obviously. So Nick Voltemade started off really well, feeding off scraps, like I said. Very few of those performances were good team performances, but Voltemade, look at the goals against Wolves, Union, Arsenal, Brighton, Forest, Everton, 2 more against Chelsea. But now that's dried up and he's been played in central midfield in a less advanced position than someone like Joe Linton or even Sean Longstaff played. We have Germany's number 9 playing in midfield for us, and our midfield destroyer most recently deployed from the starting 11 on the left-hand side of the front 3 and a winger up top. Now, Anthony Gordon right now is our best option as a centre forward with the way we play, and to make the team a more coherent and cohesive. Have I just used 2 examples of the same word pretty much? Unit. Anthony Gordon gives us, the team looks slightly better when Anthony Gordon is playing up top. Why is why is Voltemade being hounded by the press? I agree with the likes of Craig Hope when they say that Craig has said a few times that Nick Voltemade is the missing piece to somebody else's jigsaw. I understand where he's coming from, because he does not suit the way Newcastle play. That's what makes the Ekitike failure so much more disappointing, because Ekitike, I believe, would have come in and it's a like for like for Isak and would have slotted in lovely. But why is Eddie saying publicly, it seems like throwing Voltemade under the bus, saying he needs to sort it out himself, he needs to improve? Yes, he needs to improve. We can all see that. Nick Voltemade is a bit of a passenger in this team at the minute, but as a young guy coming in with all that pressure, throw him some slack. Eddie Howe was calling for support for Anthony Elanga a while ago, and the crowd got behind Anthony Elanga. where are these calls of support for Nick Voltemada? Nick Voltemada has been nowhere near as bad as Anthony Elanga, granted. I think Elanga needed that support more. But where are the calls to get behind big Nick Voltemada? I don't know. It's out of character for Eddie. It's worrying. It shows a man under pressure, in my view. Johan Wissa, let's get to him. Jesus Christ. So, in terms of worst signings, this has got to be, in my view, if you tot up every factor, every variable, our worst signing of the summer. £55 million for a 29-year-old striker approaching 30 in the last year of his contract. Our opening bid was 25 million quid. We ended up paying over double that. Yes, Anthony Elanga, 55 million quid has been a massive disappointment. But he's young enough to come good, and he wasn't in the last year of his contract. Johan Wissa, it smacks to me of somebody who wanted that massive move. He wanted that bumper contract. If you look it up online, his wages have skyrocketed. He wasn't on, in Premier League relative terms, fantastic money at Brentford. He's on very good money at Newcastle now. It smacks to me of somebody who's got to Newcastle, signed that massive contract, and has gone, I've made it now, I can relax. No, bud. You were in the Champions League. We're gunning to stay in the that's gone now. We will not be in the Champions League next season. We're trying to retain Champions League. We're trying to progress. We're trying to challenge the status quo. We do not need people turning up at Newcastle going, I can chill now. No, you need to hit the hammer harder than ever before. And Johan Wissa, in my view, is fucking getting away with it. Yes, he had that big injury. But since he's come back in, he's been rubbish. Rubbish. The goals against Spurs... Was it Spurs? His first game back, or was it Fulham? I want to say it was Spurs. And then he scored against Burnley. Those two were harder to miss than to score. He was pretty much in the goal when he tapped those in. But right place, right time, fair enough. We need someone with that predatory instinct. I don't think Nick Voltemada would have scored those two. The goal against, was it PSV Eindhoven, was a scruffy as fuck finish, let's be honest. But apart from those things, he's done nothing. He doesn't look quick. He doesn't look confident. His first touch isn't great. He doesn't hold up that well. And it's just been such a disappointment. Because I was excited about Nick Voltemada, but he was a bit of an unknown entity. But we thought, it's all right. But let him find his feet. We got Johan Wissa. Wissa can slot straight in, lovely. Premier League proven. Someone we can hang our hat on to depend on that he's going to hit double figures. And he's been a massive letdown. The summer transfer window was an absolute car crash, wasn't it? Alexander Isak holding us to ransom. Leaving that deal far too long. Trying to hold out, show strength as a club, fair enough, but then Isak just set fire to that. No CEO, no sporting director in place. Every time we went to negotiate for a big player that we actually wanted, we were probably laughed out the room. Agents were probably saying to their clients, the likes of Benjamin Sesko, Hugo Ekitike, João Pedro, Liam Delap, etc., we can't take this lot seriously. They sent the kit man to negotiate. Like, they got no sporting director, no CEO. Who are we meant to be talking to here? It just looks shoddy. And I think you have to point the finger at PIF and the Saudis. No new training ground. They're making some noise about the stadium now. But no new training ground, no new stadium yet, nothing concrete. It's been a merry-go-round of fucking staff in the executive departments. Mirdad and Amanda went, massive mistake. Dan Ashworth, the debacle with that. Ross Wilson, I think that was his name last year, that was an absolute car crash. Nightmare. He basically set fire to Newcastle United and then buggered off. The new CEO, David Hopkinson, I like the sound of him. But do not be talking to us about wanting to win the Premier League by 2030 when we're sitting 12th in the Premier League now. And there's nothing's been done, really. What are your thoughts on that? I'm going to have to pause now for part 2 coming soon, but try and draw some more positives in part 2. But I'm frustrated with Eddie Howe as a manager and the decisions he's making, which I'll get onto in a minute. But mitigation, the summer, the lack of staff in the upper echelons of the club, the fact that our transfer window was such a cock-up. And I am fed up with it, hearing this one thing from certain journalists. Oh, so-and-so's not hit the ground because they haven't had a pre-season. They haven't had a pre-season. We're in fucking March. It's the 4th of March today. You're going to be blaming the pre-season in May? The whole season's gone by. How much time do you fucking need? Yes, I know they haven't had the adequate training time because we played 3 games a week. That's another mitigating factor. But there's how long can we keep blaming a pre-season? Are we going to be blaming the pre-season of 2025 if Johan Vista still hasn't hit the ground running this time next year? Do you know what I mean?